y'all, what's up, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. It's been a hot minute. I am so sorry. I have been super swamped at work. It is prom season, so yeah, I'm praying and making my way through that, and then on top of it, I was sick for a week, so I was not able to film, but we are back in action. Today's video, I'm gonna show you guys, give you little tips and techniques on how I cover up my dark acne spot. Let's go ahead and jump into the video. Alright, let's get into my skin here. So you can see I've got these lovely dark spots here, one here, but then on my right side, these have started to fade away a little bit more. The first tip I want to give you guys for just dealing with dark spots in general is skincare. Skincare is going to be so essential. You need to know the difference between just a dark spot and a scarring. A spot is just more so on the surface, an old acne, old bump that you may have had, and it's, you know, just like a spot, it's gone. It's a dark spot. Now when it's an acne scar, it tends to be a little bit deeper down to maybe the second or third layer of the skin. So make sure you're aware of that. Secondly, skincare is essential. You want to make sure that you're using products such as serums that are going to help you with fading the acne spots. Now we ain't talking bleaching, okay? No bleaching. One of my favorite serums to use is the Sunday Riley UFO oil. That is great. I have a video on that. That has helped my skin dramatically. If you are someone that has acne prone skin or acne scars in general, that's a good one to check out. However, it's a little bit pricey, so I've been flipping between that and then the Instant Natural Vitamin C Serum. I love this. This is what I've been using recently. This is a great brand to look into. I like this brand because it is all natural organic products and the price is right. This is the Vitamin C Serum and it is the age-defying skin clearing serum. So it has vitamin C, retinol, and tea tree oil. All those ingredients are going to be great for just, you know, helping you stay nice and youthful, and also just the fading of the dark spots. I will say if you are using anything with retinol, you want to make sure that you are using a sunscreen, just simply because retinol is strong and you want to make sure that you're protecting your skin with sunscreen if you're using it. Otherwise, your skin might become a little bit sensitive to it and you just don't want to irritate your skin anymore. Also, since summertime is coming up, something else you want to keep in mind: sunscreen. Everyone needs sunscreen. I'm not trying to hear it. What is it? The importance of sunscreen. A video I did, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. That seems to be one of the most controversial videos on my channel. People were really coming at me, just, you know, oh, we don't need sunscreen, you know, you're poisoning us, we're people of color. And the thing is, are there sunscreens that aren't good for you? Absolutely. You want something that's oxybenzone free. You don't want any chemicals. In fact, while I'm talking about it, pause for the cough. This is the sunscreen that I use. It is by Black Girl Sunscreen. That means you won't get any kind of crazy cast, oxybenzone free, paraben free, and it's broad spectrum of 30, SPF 30. I did a video on this, so this is what I use. So just make sure you guys are protecting your skin. If you already have any kind of acne spots, dark scarring, and you go out into the sun, especially over the summertime, Memorial Day is coming up, we're gonna be at the pool, at the beach, and you're just hanging out in the sun, guess what? The sun is just going to make those spots darker, and you are gonna have a heck of a time trying to fade them. Whew, okay, let's jump into it. So, already talked about skincare, we got that done. Skin prep. For me, my skin, you guys know, acne prone, oily, large pores. I like to prep my skin with some sort of pore filler. So L'Oreal Magic Perfecting Base. You've got the Benefit, what is it? Benefit Professional. I've been using this one by Dr. Brant recently. This is the No More Pores. So I'm just going to smooth this over onto my skin. I like this because it just gives the illusion that my skin is nice and smooth and even textured. Speaking of textured, now this is a question and a concern that I get a lot when I'm working with my clients. People have to realize if it's just a spot, just a flat spot on your skin, you can cover that up, no problem. But when you have something that is raised on the surface, if it's discolored, we can cover it up. But even so, when you cover it, it's still gonna be raised, okay? Makeup can't make those things go away. That's a whole nother gig. So make sure you keep that in mind as well. Now you have to figure out what type of coverage do you want. Some girls are full up 100%, full on, shellac me baby, I don't want to see anything, cover my sole and my toes. That's cool. that's not my gig. I'm more of a medium coverage kind of girl. If you can see my skin, or if you see a little bit of scarring, it's not too much of a big deal. My overall goal is just skin tone to look even, you know what I mean? I feel like sometimes with full coverage is tricky because it can look heavy. It can wear really heavy, and I still want to have that nicely even your skin but better this could be my skin, if you will. You guys know what I mean? So for me, I go for more of a medium coverage. And if you want to do full coverage, just make sure you're using products that'll give you full coverage. I think something that a lot of girls do wrong is when they want to cover a spot, they tend to put on too many layers all over your face. So let's say they'll have their primer, then they'll have their color corrector, then they'll have their foundation, then they'll have their concealer. And if you're putting on all of those layers in areas where you might not necessarily need it, it's gonna get heavy. Rock it. Medium coverage. So now we're going to jump into color correcting. Let's talk about color correcting really quick. There are some great ones out there. I know the LA Girl, what is it? The LA Girl Pro, the orange concealer. You can use that one. You can use the Peach Luster by MAC. I'm going to be using this one by Smashbox. This is just a color correcting crayon. I will say this, if you're using that LA Girl, be careful because she is potent. She is pigmented. I find a lot of people use that one and it is just a little too strong. You have to keep in mind, if you're going to go on a full on orange like that and you don't have the deep enough skin tones to support it, it's going to kind of still peek through. I don't consider myself light skin whatsoever, and a lot of people don't consider me dark skin either, so I'm kind of just like, I will just say deep skin. So if you're my skin or lighter, don't use that straight up orange because it will still kind of peek through, or just use something like the Smashbox crayon. I like this one because it's just enough. It's not too much and you can blend it out easily. I feel like with the LA Girl, when you start blending it out, it's so pigmented and concentrated that it just kind of expands all over your face. So I'm going to take this color correcting crayon and I am just going to put it on the spots that I need. This is going to make it so that when I put on my concealer or foundation that I don't have that gray cast. And sometimes women of color as well, we tend to be a little bit darker around the mouth. So if you're someone that has that, you can put this around your mouth as well and blend it out. So with this one, I just like to put it on the spots where I need it, and then I'll just take my finger and just pat it. I like this crayon, the Smashbox crayon, because it's not cream, you know what I mean? It's almost kind of, how can I describe the consistency? It's not super liquidy and it's super easy to blend out. And notice when I'm blending it out, this is something else that people do wrong when they're trying to cover up something too. You need to do more of the stippling motion. So you need to pat, whether if you're using your finger or a brush, you want to make sure that you're patting it. You don't want to swirl or swipe, because essentially when you swirl and swipe like that, you're just taking that product and you're rubbing it all around. When you're trying to cover something, you really want to focus on that one area and pat it, because you're going to get the most coverage that way. Then we're going to do the same thing over here on these spots. And then sometimes if I'm feeling like, oh girl, you didn't get enough sleep and I've got some darkness up under my eyes, I'll take this just right in the inner corner of my eyes where I tend to be the darkest at, and put this on in here, and then I'm just going to press it with my finger. Boom. So now we got that going on. We're nice and covered there. Next up, pick what you want to use to cover. Do you want to wear a foundation? Do you just want to conceal? That's what I like to do. My method is just spot concealing, because I have not been wearing liquid foundation here recently. So if you want to use a foundation, that's totally fine. Just keep in mind that you don't have to use a foundation if you don't want. Alright, so I'm going to take my favorite concealer of life, Kat Von D Lock It Cream Concealer. Oh, little tip too, I was scraping it, so what I did was I took the stopper out so that way I can get the rest of the product, because I need to buy a new one. So I'm just going to take my concealer brush, here my little wand, and I am just going to press it where I have the color corrector. keep in mind you want to use a product that is skin-like. The Kat Von D is skin-like. The NARS Complete Soft Matte Concealer, that's very, very skin-like. You don't want to use something that's too dewy or too luminous or too matte for that matter, because it's going to obviously show up more on your skin that you have something there. And you don't want to use anything that's way too light. Like, you know how sometimes we use the lighter concealer up under the eyes? Don't do that for spot concealing. Now next I'm just going to take my beauty blender, and we're not going to swirl, and I'm just going to pounce this in those areas. And then if I feel like I need to go back in and concentrate a little bit more, I will grab my concealer again. This is another trick that you can do. If you have any kind of blending eyeshadow brush, like a MAC 224 is really good for this too. You can just take that brush and then you can just stipple it. Stippling, have you guys seen the stippling brushes where it almost looks like a flat top kabuki, but the bristles are really, really long and they're kind of really finely. It's not a super densely packed brush. That's a stippling brush, and you can kind of use that if you want, or if you need to get really precise, you can just use any sort of fluffy blending brush. This brush is a Morphe 433. This is an eyeshadow brush, and this works really, really well. This is probably one of my favorite techniques if I need to get really detailed with a specific spot on my face. Boom. Then we're gonna do this. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side of my face. And next up, I'm just going to go up under my eyes. I also like taking concealer on my lids as well, because I feel like it just brightens my eyelid. It gives it that more even tone, so it's prepped and ready for eyeshadow. And I like the way that the eyeshadow applies and how vibrant it looks. I feel like you get the more true color because you've corrected the color in your eyelid. So essentially, guys, this is the exact same technique that I would do for my powder foundation routine, just really focusing on the color correcting and the stippling techniques. So it's the exact same gig. So if you guys want to see more details for my powder foundation routine, make sure you check that out. Next up, I just need to make sure that I set everything in place. So I'm going to set up under my eyes first with the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. Again, if you've used a foundation, same gig, make sure that you set that in place as well. Then I'm going to show you what I like to do just to give my spots that I have set extra security. For those spots that I have covered, just to make sure they're nice and tight in place, I'm going to take some Sacha Buttercup powder, and I'm going to take that same eyeshadow brush again, and I'm just going to pop it right on those spots. Again, just being super strategic about where I place it, because since we're covering up and I did not use any foundation, we want to make sure that everything is nice and set. Then I'm just going to take a powder brush and knock off anything else. And once it gets warmer and I want to make sure that everything is really, really set in place, and if I want to like really make sure something's locked in, I'll take my damp sponge, dip it in, and then I will pack it on my skin that way, because that will give you extra security. And if I want, you know, just a little bit more color on my face, I've been using the Bare Minerals Matte Foundation here. My shade is in Warm Dark. And I like this on the outside of my face. I don't like it in the center of my face because it's too dark for the center of my face, but I'll just put a little in here, taking this brush, and then I'll just swirl. And this will give me a little extra coverage as well. In fact, I love the way that this covers without getting too cakey. I used this a while ago and I didn't like it. And so I decided to give it a try again, and I like it. I don't know, maybe, I don't know what I was doing and why I didn't like it the first time I tried it, but yeah, this is perfect for a little bit more extra coverage, and boom. In fact, this is really, really bomb if I need to cover and I don't want to look too cakey or heavy. This is the money piece right here. And boom. Everything is nice and covered, and we didn't even use a liquid foundation. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup, and I will be right back. Alright, I am all done with my makeup. This is the finished product. For bronzer, I used Shea Moisture bronzer. I went underneath it a little bit with the ABH powder contour, tan to deep with this one here. Put on a little bit, excuse me, put on a little bit of MAC Mineralized Skin Finish and Sun Power on my eyes. I'm not really sure what happened with my eyes today. My eyes kind of got away from me. I had a vision and it turned out nothing like I expected. Whatever, we're gonna roll with it. But on the eyes, I have on the ABH Prism palette, and I am rocking Thorn on my eyelids and then Saturn in the crease. On my lips, I mix up a bunch of things. So this is the finished look. Really want to put emphasis on something that helps my look a whole lot, and it is this Bare Minerals matte foundation here. Everything is covered. It looks so good. It looks nice and natural, and we didn't use any liquid. Another thing that's super important, if you're someone who has dark spots, acne scarring, and you have dry skin, my technique and what I just did here will not work for you, just simply because I use straight up powder. So I layered on a bunch of powders because my skin can handle it, and I'm so oily, so it works for me. However, if you are someone who is on the drier side, I would not recommend putting on powders for you. I would recommend doing more so spot concealing and then just setting it with a pressed powder instead of going in with the Sacha Buttercup and then topping it off with this, because you might get a little cakey. However, Bare Minerals does make a foundation like this, just the regular, the original one. That one might be okay. I know when I did try it, I tried the original too, and that one didn't work for my skin at all, but the matte one currently is working. So that is going to wrap up this video. I hope all of these little tips and techniques help you guys out. Please keep in mind, everything that I share with you might not work for you, and that is okay. It doesn't mean that I'm wrong and you're right, or vice versa. It just simply means that we are all different, and different strokes for different folks. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Also, drop down below some of your techniques that you use to cover up your acne scars. All right guys, I'll see you. Peace.